Good morning, everyone. I'm Todd Alsup. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles' online service. I'm going to start things off with some music for us. Got a call from an old friend, we used to be real close. Said he couldn't go home the American way. Sold the house, broke the junk, bought a ticket to the West Coast. Now it gives him a standard routine in LA. I don't need you to worry for me, 'cause I'm alright. I don't want you to tell me it's time to come home. I don't care what you say anymore, this is my life. Go ahead with your own life, leave me alone. I never said you had to offer me a second chance. I never said I was a victim of circumstance. I still belong. Don't get me wrong. And you can speak your mind, but not on my time. They will tell you you can't sleep alone in a strange place. Then they'll tell you you can't stay with somebody else. How about sooner or later you sleep in your own space? Either way, it's okay, you wake up with yourself. I don't need you to worry for me, 'cause I'm alright. I don't want you to tell me it's time to come home. I don't care what you say anymore, this is my life. Go ahead with your own life, leave me alone. I never said you had to offer me a second chance. I never said I was a victim of circumstance. I still belong. Don't get me wrong. And you can speak your mind, but not on my time. Keep it to yourself, it's my life. Keep it to yourself, it's my life. Keep it to yourself, it's my life. Yeah, keep it to yourself, it's my life.
How fabulous, Todd Alsup. I just love that Billy Joel song and your rendition of it.
Me too. Thank you.
And listening to the lyrics that help us frame our state of mind as we kick off this weekend of freedom, of remembering that our state of mind is oh so important in life, and to honor others while at the same time honoring ourselves, most importantly, on the journey. So thank you, Todd, and welcome.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Todd is joining us from Provincetown, Massachusetts. We're so happy to have him here. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and welcome to our Sunday morning celebration service on this day, July 3rd in the year 2022. It's a pleasure to have you come into this communal electronic technological space where we meet 3 of the 4 Sundays a month, and on the fourth Sunday, or one of the 4 Sundays of the month, we meet back in person, which will take place again next Sunday, which would be July the 10th in our home on 1200 North La Brea Avenue at Congregation Kol Amim. And so today we come together in this virtual space, remembering who we are as divine beings, honoring that connection that we each share while balancing out the ideology and the philosophy and the faith and the way of life of the science of mind, the teachings of the science of mind, while navigating the everyday reality that we have on this planet called Earth, in this country called the United States of America. So I welcome you here today. We come together today and we'll have our service with lots of multimedia slides today. We haven't done that for a while, and I'm really happy to share this multimedia presentation with you today as we step into this time together of remembering who we are, of honoring the power within, and of being together in this setting. So we kick off with the first slide on the screen. If I can get my hands to it, there we go, right there. And so we are a community known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, honoring and acknowledging our vision statement of supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. We honor each and every one of you in our community today as we come together with a ritual that we will kick off in just a moment. But first and foremost, we like to take a moment and say hello to each other. And so as we say hello to each other, we love to do that in the act of namaste, that Sanskrit word of meaning that the power or the divine in me honors and acknowledges the power, the divine, the light within you. In its origin, the word namaste, which is a Sanskrit meaning, means I bow to you, meaning that I bow to that power, that light, that divine within you, as well as knowing you do the same for me. So let's pull our hands together. Take a deep breath in, just anchoring ourselves in feeling the connection that we have as the power of the divine. Taking a deep breath in, raising our hands to that third eye where the light is, back to our heart, to our lips, blessing each other, saying together, Namaste. May the power, the life, the divine that exists within me honors and acknowledges within you. We are now in a new month here of life, July. And so I love this little graphic that says, welcome July. Please be awesome, because as we know, it can be awesome as long as we show up being awesome with it. And we've had some months of late that have been less than awesome. And so let's continue to step into our power as individuals who have a role in the co-creative process of how life shows up by tending to what we think, believe, and act in accordance to. As a community, what we teach is the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind, along with other metaphysical new thought teachings. At their core, this philosophy, faith, and way of life states that there's only one power in the universe, meaning it's a universal power, and that it's all inclusive, and that it's infinite by nature, and that it takes on flavors, if you will, or essences of things that may appear to be different than what it is of peace, power, and beauty and joy, light and love by the way that we use this power. We use it through our thoughts. We use it through our actions, through our reactions and our interactions with the very thing itself. This is a reality for us because we are one with it as individualized states of mind, of the one mind itself. And because we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law, our role is to practice how we use our mind, because living in a universe governed by spiritual law, the very things that we think about, believe, act upon, and the manner in which we do so return to us as experience or form in life. Equally as much as if we'd like to change the outcome of what's going on in our life, what is incumbent upon us is to change what we're thinking. Change your thinking, change your life. Sometimes that's an easy journey, sometimes it's not. And so today our role is to and responsibility as we come together is just to tap into the capacity, the opportunity, the potentiality for opening up and reframing, retraining our mind to move to a higher framework reflecting our divine nature, ultimately causing a different experience in life. Once again, I said our vision statement for our community is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. I invite you to have that be your reality today as we open up to the spiritual awakening, the awakening of knowing who we are as divine beings in a new way, and then affirming and honoring and acknowledging that for all other beings of light. And so we open our service. Well, first, before we do that, let's talk about who we are. We're a community that enjoys working to make a difference not only in our lives, but in the lives of others. The vision statement for this community and its incarnation was making a difference. And as we moved on in life, it has grown to include the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so once again, as I invite you all to be a part of this spiritual awakening, we shall do that through an opening ritual called Calling in the Light. I chose today to share these graphics with the American flag flying, the red, white, and blue a lot. And for me personally, and I'm going to assume it's true for you as well, that we're on the precipice today of creating a new mindset, a new framework of appreciating the great things that we have in our country today, the freedoms that we do have as beings of our country and our planet, while also understanding the role that we are given, assigned, and doing our best to protect the freedoms that we have and to reclaim those that have either been taken away or being threatened to take away. And so today, let's light this flame to not just be a flicker of flames of faith, but a torch, almost a flamethrower of light to shake things up and to listen to that power of the divine that as we draw into our gathering this morning a more conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. But to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. And so today, on this day, as we celebrate the 4th of July, independence, may we do our part in creating independence for all and use our spiritual nature and our spiritual power in a way to invoke change. I wanted to share this Franciscan blessing this morning to awaken us in a new way. We've heard it before, but I invite us to hear it again anew. May God bless each of us with discomfort at easy answers, half-truths, and superficial relationships so that we may live deep within our heart. May God bless us with anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people so that you may work for justice, freedom, and peace. May God, this infinite power, this universal power, bless you, us, with tears to shed for those who suffer with pain, rejection, hunger, and war, so that we may reach out our hand in comforts to them and turn their pain into joy. And may God, this divine being, bless you, me, us, with enough foolishness to believe that we can make a difference in the world, so that we can do what others claim cannot be done, so that we may bring justice and kindness to all our children and the poor. I invite us all to let this blessing ring true for us today as a call to arms, if you will, as a declaration and an invitation to make good trouble, as we talked about last week, to use the gifts we've been given to indeed do our part to make sure there is peace on earth. Todd's going to come on the screen and take us through our song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. And I invite you to sing along.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so we indeed do affirm that peace is our reality, that a divine unfolding is making itself known to, through, and as us. And we say yes to the calling. Thank you, Todd. So fantastic. And I know you've got a great song for us for just a moment. And sorry if I seemed a bit distracted literally as you started singing Let There Be Peace on Earth. A bird flew onto the railing outside my sliding glass window. It's not 8 feet from me. At first I thought it was an eagle. And then I thought it was an owl. And I realized it is a massive hawk. And so it's looking at me as I'm looking at it. And I'm affirming for sure that I shut the back door because Sweeney's with me today. Her auntie doesn't take her until 1 o'clock today, so I'm positive that's the case. But it's literally sitting watching every move that I make, and it's very majestic. And I think it's just reminding me and us that there is a whole world of life out there waiting for us to connect with, to communicate with, and to honor. So, Todd, the next song that you're singing for us is Beautiful, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the lyrics are so fabulous. And we chose this song because we want each of us to hear it and to own it, to believe it, and to remember that no matter what's going on in the chaotic world of effect, to remember who we are and that we have the freedom to honor ourselves by choosing to know we are indeed beautiful.
Every day is so wonderful, then suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed. I am beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can bring me down. I am beautiful in every single way. Words can bring me down. Oh no, so don't you bring me down today. friends. You're delirious, so consumed in all your doom. Trying hard to fill the emptiness. The piece is gone. That the puzzle undone, and that the way it ends. But you are beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can bring you down. Oh no, oh no, no. You are beautiful in every single way. Words can bring you down. So don't you bring me down today. No matter what we do, no matter what we say, we're the song inside the tune, full of beautiful mistakes. And everywhere we go, the sun will always shine. And tomorrow we might wake up on the other side. We are beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can bring us down. We are beautiful in every single way. Words can bring us down. No, no. So don't you bring me down today. Don't you bring me down today, yeah. Don't you bring me down today.
Oh, just living up to the lyrics you are. I love it. Such a touching and touching song, deeply meaning song, and exquisite. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I wanted to share something with all of you. So that's what's looking at me right now. That's the hawk I was telling you about, still sitting there. So I thought you all would appreciate seeing that I took a photo as Todd was singing. And my. So let's dive into this morning and our message for the morning as we celebrate this 4th of July weekend here in Los Angeles, California. Our theme as we kick off the new month is Free to Be Me. And so today I invite you to invite yourself to begin to look at it in a new way. What would support you in feeling freedom in a greater way than ever before to be you? I'd like to open with this poem from Maya Angelou that we've heard before, but I'd like to hear it in a new way. And it's, of course, not lost on me that there's an uncaged bird watching me right now as we tap into the poem of The Caged Bird. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams, his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. I know it's been a most interesting week and month with the transitions that are taking place in our country, of the freedoms that we've had and some that have been taken away in fear of others that will be. I know for many of us there has been these moments of fear from sorry, I just watched the bird fly away, how ironic. There's been fear of what that can do to us as a country, as a people, as humanity, to our daughters, to our loved ones, to gay people, to people of color, to all that will be impacted in such a negative way as things change in our country. My goal and objective today is for us to remember that even as we process these freedoms that seemingly and sometimes legally have been taken away, to remember who we are as divine beings and what role that we can play, not only in living out our freedom, our spiritual freedom, but how to take a role in making a difference for that on our planet. To look at freedom in a new way today and do our best, even though we may have heard freedom, independence messages at Centers for Spiritual Livings for years and years and years, to open our mind and open our heart today, to feel something new, to engage in something new, to receive something new, not judging what was, not hanging on to what was, and doing our best to not live in fear of what is to come. Freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants. Remembering that we do indeed have some freedom of choice. And so the choice today for us to remember is that we are indeed always at choice. That we're at choice to continue with the same old fearful style of thinking, remembering that that will bring us the same old results, or to move beyond the broken record syndrome of hanging on to old ideas, of living in pain and discomfort from what is happening or may be happening. And even though we may be long-term rigid metaphysicians, to be willing to open our mind and to begin to break the pattern of overthinking and begin to set ourselves free. Eric Robertson tells us to break overthinking. We must set your mind free from destructive thoughts and never let anxiety or negative thinking get in the way of a happy and fulfilled life. How appropriate is that for today, to remember that no matter what is going on in our life today, and no matter what is going on in the world of effect today, that we have the capacity and the ability, the power to live a happy and fulfilled life. I love this little graphic to the right where the woman's sitting there and it says here, "We've got a problem, heart. What do you think we should do?" And the response is, "Well, let's just complain about it until it magically disappears." And we all know that that indeed will not change life, because what is important for us to understand that if we continue to stay in the state of complaining, then we are perpetuating and propagating more experiences in life that are a reflection of complaining. But let's remember today that we indeed have the freedom to change our thinking and to change our lives. Rumi tells us that true freedom comes to those who've escaped the questions of free will and fate, meaning that we realize those are indeed fate, if you will, and our role in life is to evolve to a place of not questioning whether we do or do not have free will, but to remember that inherently within us we are free. As mental beings, we have the ability to choose and to think about how we want to be in life, how we see ourselves, how we show up in life, and what we believe ourselves to be as complete expressions of the divine, wholeheartedly on our journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening and opening daily to a greater vibrational frequency of reflecting the divine within us. I love this quote that my brother Jim Lockhart posted recently on social media by Joseph Campbell from The Pathways to Bliss. In life, what are we questing for? It's the fulfillment of that which is potential in each of us. Questing for it is not an ego trip, it's an adventure to bring into fulfillment your gift to the world, which is yourself. What I believe Mr. Campbell is reminding us of is that on this journey, no matter where we're at on the journey chronologically, where we're at on the journey respectively, where we're at on the journey in regards to the experience of our life, and where we're at on the journey of where we may deem ourselves relative to spiritual awakening, that we're being called to stay on the quest of a higher idea. And that higher idea is not an ego trip, as we talked about last week, of if we all agree to commit to being a conscious evolutionist, then we are living from essence and not ego, meaning that we're living from a place within of letting the divine guide us, living from a place where we remember that we are imbued with that which is transcendent of each and every experience in life, no matter what slaves or bondage may be attempted to be placed on any of us. That we are one with that which is not only transcendent. By leaning into that which is transcendent, it brings forth a transcendent consciousness, if we but allow it to be there, and ultimately bringing us experiences that reflect that state of mind. These are not new things for us to hear, but I do believe it is critical and important for us as we celebrate our freedom to remember we're also free to lean into our spiritual truths and remember who we are. St. John Paul tells us that freedom consists not in just doing what we like, but having the right to do what we ought in life. This may seem a bit contradictory in regards to practicing spiritual freedom and also understanding the constructs of everyday life. But he goes on to tell us here that on this Independence Day, it's worth asking ourselves, why do we care about freedom anyway? And after we've gone through all the standard replies that we've learned over the years, do we really know what freedom means? Meaning collectively and individually. To ask ourselves, do I know why my freedom is important to me? And do I know how to live freely? And what does freedom mean for me, for human beings, for society? He goes on to tell us that it doesn't mean the absence of all restraints or merely spontaneous activity without guidance about the reason why human beings act. A chaotic freedom in society, a disoriented space for the expression of impulses, urges, appetites, and desires, doesn't lead to a utopia of independent self-realization. Rather, it inevitably results in the emergence of an oppressive social system in which the strongest and most powerful people impose their desires on everyone else. And so today, we're called to not only celebrate the freedom that we have individually and spiritually, but to remember the role that we each play in help contributing to a structure of society that works for everyone. Remembering that the vision statement for the centers for spiritual living is creating a world that works for everyone. And for that to unfold, it is incumbent upon us to tend to that to the best of our ability, thought by thought, belief by belief, action by action, reaction by reaction, and interaction by interaction with the very thing, life itself, and to live as freely as possible in our states of mind. This beloved little pigeon asks us, what are other words for freedom as we celebrate it today? They are liberty, autonomy, latitude, sovereignty, exemption, independence, release, play, liberation, and self-government. Today, I ask you, do any of these ring true for you? And are there any of those that may feel as if they're being threatened? And if so, let today be the day to take self-inventory of that in a new way. Liberty is the state of being free within a society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. And certainly in our country of late, that is indeed taking place. And so it's up to us to do our part to limit that, to prevent that to the best of our ability, and to take care of one another as these impositions happen. To do our best today to do everything that we can to break the bondage that has been imposed on humanity, remembering that nobody is free until everybody is free. And so for many in our country, July 4th does not represent freedom. It's Juneteenth, as we celebrated just recently. Juneteenth being the day that finally the announcement and the declaration of freedom for slaves that were still enslaved in Texas had been set free. A reminder to us that freedom and liberty and power is something we're all equally imbued with as spiritual beings, but that may not exist for all in the human realm. And so as awakened beings, we're called to do our part to support that, to make that real for all of humanity. For we the people does indeed mean everyone. And that today, as we choose to celebrate this national holiday of 4th of July, of letting freedom ring, that we must still continue to fight, if that's the word we want to use, for freedoms for all. I love this quote that my buddy Derek Brax posted on social media a while ago, which says, to find freedom, we must calm the waves of emotion and dwell ever calmly in the consciousness of love and joy. Meaning that no matter where we are on the spectrum of dealing with humanity, that we must always return to that place within us, that consciousness of love and joy, and approach life from that perspective, of honoring the oneness in life while understanding that at times the experience of life may not feel as if all are created equal. But we know that indeed it is, for freedom is the birthright of every living soul, Ernest Holmes tells us. And so today, let's open our minds to hear in a new way that as we may have shed our snake skins of tyranny in the past in this country, that the Buddha tells us that just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over and over again. And today we're called to do that. As we lean into remembering that our approach to living freely must begin through exercising our spiritual freedom. I'd like to share on this day a talk that was written by and given by Ernest Holmes at the Wiltern Theater on July 4th in 1937. And I'm going to read it to us today, and I invite you all to hear it anew. It's a bit lengthy, but I think it speaks to what we're called to do here, and so true as what we are all aligned with as practitioners of the teachings of Ernest Holmes and the science of mind. He says, ever since the dawn of civilization, ever since the first human beings began to grasp the significant fact that they were individual beings in a universe that seemed to be more or less hostile to them, the entire search of the human mind, its whole endeavor, has been to get free from evil, from bondage and the shackles of lack, want, fear, superstition, uncertainty, pain, disease, poverty, and fear of the hereafter. And because of this, human systems exist. Organized philosophies spring up, science is developed, educational systems are conducted, collective security is sought after, and religions are formulated to allay the fear of humankind relative to the soul. The great demand in the world today is for a sense of security, freedom, and liberty. But we must be very certain that we do not swap one image of bondage for another. I've read a large part of the religious and philosophic history of the world, and I've noticed that almost invariably when the world traded one kind of religion for another, it didn't get a good deal. The Pilgrim Fathers who came to the shores of New England came to worship God in their own way. But the moment they got there, everybody in the colony worshiped God in the way that the strong-minded members of that colony decided was the way to worship God. That was not freedom. Even in our newer religions of the last 75 or 100 years, very frequently we meet people who say they have now found the truth. Remember, this was 1937. And then, unfortunately, a large majority of them disclose that they merely have found an idea they liked and called it the truth because they were egotistical, self-conscious, self-righteous people with an attitude of condemnation towards others. This is not the truth. In studying one system of thought after another that has transpired in the last 7,000 years of human history, I've noted how extremely difficult it is for the human mind to conceive liberty without license, without egotism, and we can only give birth to freedom when we've conceived liberty. True freedom, true liberty, has something cosmic behind it. If the time has come that modern science has proved that we cannot move a piece of paper without changing the balance of the entire physical universe, if we've come to the place where we know that the stuff of which our physical bodies are made is the same stuff of which the planets are made, if we've come to the place where such a profound unity is maintained that physicists believe that there is no such thing as disunity in the physical world, then we can easily see what the great spiritual leaders of the ages meant when they told us of the greater unity in which we all live and move and have our being, and that the idea of freedom itself is tied up with the true concept of the unity of good. If our nature is one, if our God is one, and we know that God must be one, for the universe cannot be divided against itself, then we are all tied into an indivisible unity. We shall have to get back to this unity to find the meaning of freedom. Nothing in any part of this cosmic whole could be considered freedom that would destroy the liberty of some other part of it. That would be self-destruction, would it not? As Jesus pointed out 2,000 now plus years ago, that would be a kingdom divided against itself. The kingdom of God is one kingdom. So we know that true liberty must spring from true unity. We are bound into a supreme unity. We're tied into an immutable law of irrevocable cause and effect. That is unity moving into action. Cause and effect is something that happens as a result of the use of unity. Consequently, we are one even while we are many. And since each one of us is part of the whole, if we seek to destroy each other, we're only ultimately hurt ourselves. That is the great lesson of life. So freedom then will only come in such a degree as we no longer do anything that hurts anyone. But that does not mean we have to become spiritual or intellectual doormats. I do not believe in that. Nothing in my belief causes me to feel that God or the creative principle wants me to suffer for myself or for anyone else. I do it. I've always done it. Perhaps I always shall in this world, but I know that it is wrong. How can the Supreme Being desire my suffering without imposing that suffering? And what kind of a universe has a God who suffers and imposes suffering in a changeless reality? The whole theology and religious reaction of people who believe that arises out of morbidity and fear and superstition and nothing else. Well, it is not so, and still we suffer. Why? Because we do not understand. We might say that the world suffered darkness until somebody discovered electricity. It suffered crawling around on the face of Earth until technology was developed so that we could fly and drive. It suffers limitation not because the infinite imposes limitation, but because the world does not understand its freedom. And when it begins to develop its freedom, seldom does it do it directly. It generally creates a new bondage. When we kill the old devil, we are very likely to give birth to a new and more subtle one. War is more to be feared than ever because we have more knowledge without more wisdom. And final freedom will only come as it is tied into divine wisdom. Divine wisdom. He tells us that the evolution of freedom in the human mind is a slow process. Many movements in the world that claim to be seeking liberty only produce new kinds of bondage. We should be aware. We should become aware of them. I believe, he writes, that the true spirit of democracy is a spiritual conception where there is freedom, liberty without license, and a flexibility that makes evolution possible on the foundation of freedom. As we enter into this spirit of the meaning of Independence Day, the day when liberty, symbolically, was conceived, the day when freedom, objectively, in our country was announced, we should think of it not merely as a political system or form of government, but we should think of it as a spiritual conception, an idea in the mind, the divine mind itself, taking form in human experience. We should learn to love that liberty, and in loving the idea that we should learn to tenderly and prayerfully handle the embodiment of that idea and nourish it always to greater strength. We should really conceive again and again that the great spiritual conception of that rugged man of God who said, that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. Today, let's open our mind, our hearts, our soul, our beings to unify in a greater way than ever before, to do our best mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to honor the oneness that exists for all of humanity while still holding the understanding that there can be disagreements, while at the same time holding. The only way we're going to make a great difference is to make good trouble while honoring the serenity that we have within us of peace and power. The great David Hawkins tells us to detach from positionalities. He says detachment from positionalities, and especially the positionalities that are occasioned by labeling, leads to serenity, freedom, and security. Greater serenity arises from relating to the context of life rather than to the content, which is primarily a game board of interacting egos. This broader style of relating to life leads to a greater compassion and emancipation from being at the effect of the world. We're all practitioners of new thought. Today, let's have one. Let's have one by detaching ourselves from whatever position that we're holding that is creating distance, that is creating chaos, that is creating separation. And then allow that serenity to make itself known to us. And remember that it is through the power of thought that we can make a difference on this planet. To let today be the day that we throw away any positionality of self-hate, of fears, of listening to hatred or news or that which is creating us to be unsettled within, to release ourselves from the bondage of the old and to set ourselves free to what's ahead for us. As we look forward from this day on, we get to decide for ourselves, will the rest of our life be average, nondescript, or will it be memorable? Not necessarily because we're marching through life with a marching band and a baton being thrown in the air. Not that there's anything wrong with that. but it can be memorable because today can be the day that we engage in our freedom, stimulating within us a greater sense of serenity. Christiane Martin tells us that when your world moves too fast and you lose yourself in the chaos, introduce yourself to each color of the sunset. Reacquaint yourself with the earth beneath your feet and thank the air that surrounds you with every breath you take. And find yourself in the appreciation of life. And in so doing, connect to the freedom of the ability to make those choices. A post from Center for Spiritual Living Dallas by Dr. Petra Wells, her word writes this: the universe is ready to support you. You get to decide the kind of life you want to experience by deciding what kind of person you are. You get to choose the life you want to express by choosing character, integrity, and possibility. The bigger you get on the inside, the bigger your life becomes. The more loving, peaceful, and positive you are on the inside, the more the universe reflects this back to you in ever increasing ways. The more you can imagine making of your life, the more you get to manifest. So dream big, embody your truest self, and imagine that you want is your life right now. Together, you and the universe are unstoppable. Why? Because you have within you, as do I, the freedom to use your mind the way that you decide. And let's do our best to decide to allow it, our mind, to align with our divine qualities, our divinity, the God within. May your holiday and the week ahead be fabulous, and so it is. And so Todd's going to come back now and sing a song for us that is fun and celebratory and honors freedom. And I invite you to open your mind to hear it in the most fun, loving, celebratory way it's being presented. Todd, take it away.
Let's do it. One second. I'm having keyboard issues. It's coming, everybody. Sorry. This is Follow Your Arrow by Casey Musgraves, everybody. If you save yourself a marriage, you're a bore. If you don't save yourself a marriage, you're a horrible person. If you don't have a drink, then you're a prude. But they'll call you a drunk as soon as you down the first one. If you can't lose the weight, then you're just fat. But if you lose too much, then you're on crack. Damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So you might as well just do whatever you want to. So make lots of noise, kiss lots of boys, or kiss lots of girls if that's something you're into. When the straight and narrow gets a little too straight, roll up a joint, or don't. Just follow your arrow wherever it points. Follow your arrow wherever it points. If you don't go to church, you'll go to hell. If you're the first one on the front row, you're a self-righteous son of can't win for losing, you'll just disappoint them. Cause if you can't beat them, don't mean you should join them. So make lots of noise, kiss lots of boys, or kiss lots of girls if that's something you're into. When the straight and narrow gets a little too straight, roll up a joint, or don't. Just follow your arrow wherever it points. Follow your arrow wherever it points. Say what you think, love who you love, 'cause you just get so many trips round the sun. Yeah, you only live once. So make lots of noise, kiss lots of boys, or kiss lots of girls if that's something you're into. When the straight and narrow gets a little too straight, roll up a joint or don't. Just follow your arrow wherever it points. Follow your arrow wherever it points. Yeah, follow your arrow wherever it points. Yeah,
Yes, sir. I love that song.
me too.
So, and you can tell you're having fun. So, Todd, I'm so appreciative of you being here with us today, and to let everyone know that you're in Provincetown doing your summer gigs, and your shows are selling out. I know you're so
Yes,
excited, right?
that's a
So,
really
you're
good sign.
doing a George Michael show, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Right. Last year you did an Elton John show, and this year
I
doing a
did.
George Michael show.
Yep.
How fabulous! Are any of them ever streamed on YouTube or anywhere?
The Elton John show is available for stream on the TheaterWorks site, TheaterWorks Hartford. So we have a video of that that's beautiful. I'm hoping to record George Michael this summer and make it available for
Fantastic.
people to see it. Yeah.
Well, I know that Provincetown is a hoppin', and I'm so happy that you're there in the midst of that, doing what you
Yeah.
love, and it's bringing you so much joy. So,
Thank you.
thank you for that. So,
Thanks.
let's all just give a huge thank you for Todd for being here. So, right now, the time in our service is giving everyone the opportunity to support our community financially. I'm going to place on the screen the methods to do that so that we can all have that. You can go to our website, csl-la.org, and click on donate. Go to the app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. You can click on the upper left bars, the screen will come up, and you can see the donate tab, or you can mail in a check to our address at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California, 90038. Or if it's better for you to call me personally and do that, you can do so. My phone number is on the screen. And so, without further ado, regarding that, Todd's going to take us through our conscious giving song, which will give us all the opportunity to take a moment and support our community.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision. Right here, right now. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision. Right here, right now.
Thank you so much. And so it is. Thanks, Todd. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Keith.
Till next time, and may
was
you
a
have,
pleasure.
you have a show tonight.
No, I'm off tonight. How nice is that?
Well, enjoy your night off and your
Thank you.
big 4th of July in Provincetown, as I know it is.
Yes, it'll be big here. Yeah, it's
And
a big party this week.
yeah, so have a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you for
Good to
being
see everybody. Thank you.
here. And so a big thank you to not only Todd, but to Travis Smith for our audio work, and Robert Hensley, who will soon be back in Los Angeles, who is our video guru, social media expert. Big thank you to him. A reminder to all of you that next Sunday we will be back in person at Congregation Kol Ami, our home at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, as well as online. Please plan to be there and invite your friends. It would be great to have a good deal of people in the house. We have a great new musician that will be there. You'll find out more about that throughout the week. So I'm really excited about that, and look forward to seeing you all. It'll be really wonderful. Know that we continue this week with our midweek morning meditation on Wednesday mornings, and you can join in for that and get all of that information through our website, as well as through our weekly e-newsletter that goes out. That's Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. It's a wonderful opportunity to come together and just go into meditation. This past week's meditation was taking us through the steps of spiritual mind treatment and how to use them in that manner, which was fantastic. That is now has been recorded. You can find links to that on our website or through the app in the App Store, and or through our YouTube channel. Also, you can find it on our Facebook page, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles on Facebook, as well as on our Instagram. As well as our texts for the day are still going out. Make sure you get the new thought for the day at 7:30 in the morning. We've been having people join that a good bit the last week, lots of new members. So keep pushing and promoting that for us, as well as everything else. Know that you're celebrated and you're loved, and it's so wonderful to have you here with us today. Thank you for taking time in your life to contribute to your life by showing up and being a participant in our Sunday morning service, whether you're joining us by Facebook and or by Zoom. Let's close with the meditation, and after that we will say goodbye to those on Facebook, and those that are here on Zoom can turn your cameras on for us to say a brief hello to each other, and then we can all go about our daily business of letting our spiritual freedom fly, fly, and fly. So I'll take a deep breath in and exhale. If it feels comfortable for you, I invite you to close your eyes. We inhale together through our nose, the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And exhale out through the mouth to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Repeating, inhaling and exhaling. So I invite each of us to bring into our mind's eye the word freedom. And liberty. And justice. So I know for each of us, we allow the imagery of each of those 3 words to make themselves known to us. And we feel the feelings of the energy backed by those words. And then we allow this energy, along with the visual, to make an imprint in our psyche and our soul. So that as we continue on this journey of life, of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, day by day, thought by thought, action by action, reaction by reaction, and interaction by interactions, this imprint that is part of our cellular DNA soulful makeup makes itself known, and when we forget, we know it's there for the calling. And so as we grow forward today, we do so with a deep appreciation for the freedom that we have in life, our life, right now. And so we let that be real for us. With a deep sense of gratitude, honor, and acknowledgement. Respecting the journey, doing our part, and letting it be, as we say, and so it is. Thank you so very, very, very much for being here. May you have a fantastic week. Make it a great day, and take time to take care of yourself. Peace and love and blessings.